China's presence in Africa has grown significantly in recent decades. This growth is particularly noticeable in the mining sector. Chinese companies are now major players in the extraction of Africa's vast mineral wealth. This investment has brought new opportunities to the continent. However, it has also raised concerns about environmental protection, labor standards, and transparency. China's interest in Africa's minerals is driven by its own economic development. China needs raw materials to fuel its industries and sustain its growth. Africa, with its abundant reserves of minerals like copper, cobalt, and lithium, offers a vital source of these resources. This demand has led to a surge in Chinese investment in African mines. The scale of Chinese investment is substantial. Chinese companies have secured mining rights across the continent. They have invested billions of dollars in new mines and infrastructure projects. This investment has provided much-needed capital for African nations. It has also created jobs and boosted economic activity. The environmental impact of mining is a significant concern. This concern is heightened when it comes to large-scale mining operations. Unfortunately, some Chinese mining companies have been accused of engaging in practices that harm the environment. These practices include inadequate waste disposal, deforestation, and water pollution. One of the main environmental concerns is the disposal of mining waste. This waste often contains heavy metals and other toxins. If not disposed of properly, it can contaminate soil and water sources. This contamination poses serious risks to human health and ecosystems. Deforestation is another major concern. Mining operations often require large areas of land to be cleared. This clearing can lead to habitat loss and fragmentation, threatening biodiversity. The loss of forests also contributes to climate change by reducing carbon sequestration. Water pollution is a pressing issue in many mining areas. Mining activities can release pollutants into rivers and streams. These pollutants can include heavy metals, chemicals, and sediment. This pollution can harm aquatic life, disrupt ecosystems, and make water unsafe for human consumption. Concerns about labor exploitation have also been raised in relation to some Chinese mining operations in Africa. These concerns include poor working conditions, low wages, and inadequate safety measures. In some cases, there have been allegations of forced labor and child labor. Working conditions in some mines can be extremely hazardous. Miners often work long hours in dangerous environments. They may be exposed to dust, fumes, and heavy machinery. Without proper safety equipment and training, miners are at risk of accidents, injuries, and long-term health problems. Low wages are a persistent issue. In some cases, miners are paid below the minimum wage or not paid at all. They may be forced to work overtime without additional compensation. This exploitation keeps workers trapped in poverty. The use of child labor is a serious violation of human rights. Children are particularly vulnerable to exploitation. They are often forced to work in dangerous conditions for little or no pay. This exploitation deprives children of education and opportunities. Transparency and governance are crucial aspects of responsible mining. However, there are concerns about the lack of transparency in some agreements between Chinese companies and African governments. These concerns include a lack of public consultation and accountability mechanisms. Agreements between mining companies and governments should be open and accessible to the public. This transparency allows citizens to scrutinize the terms of the agreements and hold both parties accountable. However, in some cases, these agreements are shrouded in secrecy, raising concerns about potential corruption. Public consultation is essential to ensure that mining projects have the support of local communities. Communities should be informed about the potential impacts of mining. They should have a say in decisions that affect their livelihoods and environments. Accountability mechanisms are necessary to address grievances and ensure that mining companies operate responsibly. These mechanisms should include independent monitoring, reporting, and dispute resolution processes. Section 5. Diversification Strategies. The DRC's pivot away from China. The Democratic Republic of Congo, or DRC, is a resource-rich nation. However, it has faced challenges in translating its mineral wealth into sustainable development. The DRC is now seeking to diversify its mining partnerships. This diversification involves reducing its reliance on Chinese investors. The DRC's decision to diversify is driven by several factors. One factor is the desire to attract a wider range of investors. Another factor is the need to secure better terms for its resources. The DRC aims to create a more competitive mining sector. This competition is hoped to lead to increased investment and better deals for the country. The DRC is actively seeking partnerships with countries like the United States, Japan, and France. These partnerships are seen as a way to reduce the country's dependence on China. They are also seen as a way to access new technologies and expertise. Diversification is not without its challenges. The DRC needs to improve its investment climate. It also needs to address issues related to corruption and instability. However, the move towards diversification is a positive step towards sustainable development. Section 6. Technological advancements, reshaping the mining landscape. The mining industry is undergoing a period of rapid technological advancement. These advancements have the potential to transform the sector. They are changing the way mines are discovered, developed, and operated. One of the most significant advancements is the use of automation and robotics. Automated systems are being used for a wide range of tasks. These tasks include drilling, blasting, and hauling. Automation can improve efficiency, reduce costs, and enhance safety by removing humans from hazardous environments. Data analytics and artificial intelligence are also playing an increasingly important role in mining. These technologies are being used to analyze vast amounts of data. This data is collected from sensors, drones, and other sources. This analysis can help companies optimize their operations, identify new mineral deposits, and improve safety. These technological advancements have the potential to benefit both mining companies and host countries. However, they also raise concerns about job displacement and the need for workforce retraining. Section 7. Case studies, Zimbabwe and Tanzania. Zimbabwe and Tanzania are two African countries with significant Chinese mining investments. These countries exemplify both the opportunities and challenges associated with Chinese involvement in the sector. In Zimbabwe, Chinese companies have made substantial investments in the mining of gold, platinum, and other minerals. These investments have contributed to economic growth and created jobs. However, there have also been concerns about environmental damage, labor exploitation, and a lack of transparency in some mining deals. Tanzania has also seen a surge in Chinese mining investment. The country is rich in minerals such as gold, nickel, and tanzanite. While these investments have brought economic benefits, concerns have been raised about the environmental and social impacts of mining. There are also concerns about whether Tanzania is receiving a fair share of the benefits from its resources. Section 8. Geopolitical dimensions, China, the West, and the scramble for resources. China's growing presence in Africa has not gone unnoticed by other global powers. The United States and European Union are also seeking to secure access to Africa's mineral resources. This competition has created a complex geopolitical landscape. The competition for resources is driven by several factors. One factor is the growing demand for raw materials to fuel economic growth. Another factor is the increasing importance of critical minerals for strategic industries. These industries include renewable energy and defense. This geopolitical rivalry has both positive and negative implications for Africa. On the one hand, it gives African countries more leverage in negotiating deals with foreign investors. On the other hand, it risks exacerbating existing conflicts and instability. African countries need to navigate this complex geopolitical landscape carefully. They need to prioritize their own interests and ensure that they are not being exploited by any external power. Section 9. The way forward towards sustainable and mutually beneficial partnerships. China's engagement in African mining presents both opportunities and challenges. To ensure that these partnerships are mutually beneficial, it is essential to address the concerns that have been raised. African governments need to strengthen their regulatory frameworks. They need to enforce environmental and labor standards. They also need to promote transparency and accountability in the mining sector. This will help to ensure that mining activities are conducted responsibly. African countries should focus on developing their own mining industries. They should promote local processing and value addition. This will create jobs and generate more revenue from their resources. It will also reduce their dependence on foreign companies. China, for its part, should encourage its companies to operate responsibly in Africa. It should promote sustainable mining practices that minimize environmental damage and respect human rights. This will help to build trust and ensure that Chinese investments are a force for good in Africa.